Today's video is the Joby GorillaPod dead. This is the Ulanzi flexible tripod MT-36, which obviously doesn't have the same ring as GorillaPod to it, but let's check this out. For anybody that doesn't know, Joby GorillaPod is probably the de facto vlogging grip that most people would use. I guess it became really popular when Casey Neistat used to use it, and everybody has probably picked up a Joby GorillaPod at some stage, including myself. Now, I would love to show you guys my Joby GorillaPod, but to be brutally honest, the joints got loose and I literally threw it out a couple of weeks ago. It was an absolute pile of junk. It lasts for a bit, and unless you go to the very high-end metal ones, then the GorillaPods do not last, especially if you give them some heavy use. For full disclosure, my friends at Ulanzi sent me this MT-36, and it's kind of like a GorillaPod, so it is a handheld option. But what makes this different, and what makes me think this is the GorillaPod killer? These three things what's wrong with me? These three legs make me think this is absolutely the GorillaPod killer for a very simple reason. These are bendy, they're flexible, but I know what you're saying, Vic.
The GorillaPod stuff is flexible too.
But it's ball joints, and they do wear away. Now, I'm not really sure what's in this. It just feels like bendy stuff. There's certainly no joints as such. So immediately for me, this is going to be a lot stronger. The Ulanzi vlogging grip, the MT-36, has got something else in here as well as standard that also sets it above the GorillaPod, and I'm going to get to that momentarily. But let's take a look at this. We've got a ball head here on top, which you can screw off if you want very easily, so you can replace it with a bigger ball head if you need, or you can just screw this directly into the camera. And then something I think that is a little bit genius, you've got a cold shoe mount here, so if you want to screw something else in here, like a light or anything like that, that can go in there, or maybe a mic, that can go in there really easily. Now, to attach the camera, and this is the genius part here, to attach your camera, whatever camera you're using, in this case I'm going to use my Sony ZV-1, we simply screw in, but you're like, Vic, this is rattling. Why is it rattling? And this is the magic part. So this is one of the Falcam quick release plates, kind of like the Ulanzi Claw, kind of like an Arca Swiss, and it works in a kind of a similar way. So we've got a locking mechanism, so we can pull out, twist, push in, and then our grip comes off. Now, what does this mean? Very simple. Let's get this onto the Sony ZV-1, and I'll show you why this is also a step above, as standard, something like a Joby GorillaPod. And don't get me wrong, GorillaPods have their place, but for me, I always found the build quality left a lot to be desired. I'm not raining down fire and brimstone on GorillaPods, but it's just one of those things where you're like, I wish it, for the money that they charge, and something like this Ulanzi piece of kit is a lot cheaper. Now, I'm only hand tightening this one. Give you guys a quick example. So that screws into your 1/4 inch mount, where I've got a cage on here, and then all it is slide it back in. And now, one of the other things that I really like about this, and this is very unique, and this isn't in every ball head, is this here. So this allows you to get the camera and you can swivel it back. And in a lot of ball heads, you have to turn it the other way around to get it to go back down this way. Now, here's the thing on this Ulanzi ball head, you can drop it down this way or this way, because you've got that little gap here, which is incredibly useful. So then you can just tighten up, and that's it. And then if you want to get into that full vlogging mode, bend out your handles, and there you go. And it works really well. And of course, with a camera like the Sony ZV-1, which, you know, some of you are going, Vic, the lens isn't wide enough, you can stretch things out just a little bit further. With all of these types of grips, whether it's this one or that one, there's only so much weight that they can actually hold, and they do need a little bit of a balancing act to get it right. One thing that happens with the GorillaPods in my experience is the weight capacity wears away over time, so you can literally fart in it and it'll just kind of sink down. I haven't used this one for long enough to give a fair opinion, but it does seem very strong that it is going to last over time. From a weight perspective, will this hold the Sony ZV-1? Absolutely. Bigger cameras like the Sony a6600, I've tried it out, it works. I've even put it on to my heavier Panasonic S1H with a monitor, and while it does sink a little bit, it did hold it up. So I think this is going to be strong enough for most people. Now, I guess if you wanted to call it a disadvantage, bending the handles, you gotta get a bit of a flex going. But other than that, this thing works like a charm. And the fact that it comes with this quick release plate here that you can just push in and get the camera off for whatever reason means that you're going to have a lot more of an efficient and stressless or stress-free experience when you're out and about. And that's a really important thing. The less stress that you have when you're making content, the better. Because if you're struggling with this, it can kind of zap your energy and you're like, oh, I'm getting frustrated, I'm getting annoyed, I'm getting upset, I'm getting angry. And that translates on camera and people can see that. And then you look at the video and you're like, oh, that wasn't my best work. And yeah, you shouldn't have uploaded it. So the less stress that you can have, and quick release plates like this, or like the Ulanzi Claw, or like the Arcus Swiss system, can really make a huge difference to your workflow. What's the build quality like? Yeah, as I said, the legs are good. They go out this way and then you can sort out whatever way you want. But here, the actual ball head itself, the whole thing feels incredibly solid. Even the joints and stuff like that, everything moves very, very smoothly. And you've got so much flexibility with this. I gotta say, I really like this. Now, besides the obvious kind of vlogging grip, this will also, of course, set down. It'll work maybe as a tabletop tripod in some cases. It's probably not tall enough, but depending on what you're at, you might be able to get away with it. And of course, you can also hang this off of different things. Now, the one thing with a lot of these is you're not going to hang a heavy camera off it. So something like the ZV-1 with a cage is probably heavy enough. But if you want to hang it off of a tree, then you can absolutely dangle it, or you can strap and wrap these legs around whatever you need to. But like with this or any other type of vlogging grip like it, keep very close eye on the whole thing, because there's no guarantee that this thing is going to stay on the tree or the pole or whatever you have strapped it to. If any time at all, the best thing you can do is have it hanging versus kind of out at an angle. And that goes right across the board, because weight, gravity can be your enemy, and expensive cameras, yeah, they don't like that stuff. What you might like though is the video right here.